Oh,
All right, so you mentioned at the opening that you were cousins with Alan. So what was your first experience with Benjamin? Did you interact with him before setting off on this project?
I'd met him. Is this on? Yeah, it is. I'd met him before. I'd held him before. As he grew older, I grew a little scared of him, to be honest. Really, the film started when I lived in Portland at the time. I was in New York. I stopped in to see Alan and pay respects because I heard Benjamin had died, and Alan then revealed Benjamin's body, which was in a freezer, and then revealed the sculpture. And so I was immediately compelled to start capturing this because I could tell that Alan was taking his death in a very interesting way and expressing himself in an interesting way.
And at what point did the New York Times become involved? Like, was this something you envisioned as a full length thing, as a short? What were you thinking you were doing with this footage?
Good editor question.
Yeah, I mean, we had it when Jim came with this bunch of footage. We had a day job, and he was late for because he was busy capturing this funeral. And he had all these tapes, and just said, "Hey, can you capture these? I want to take them, and just for posterity." And it was his own private stuff. And we looked at some of the clips, and Alan's telling a story about a monkey. Haha, it was pretty funny. The little bits that I saw, and then a month or so passed. I happened to just, as an accident, had this footage on a hard drive, and then I'm an editor by profession. I was supposed to be working on something else, and I saw these things. I was kind of snooping. I just started watching.
Totally snooping. I could have been really angry when you revealed that you started making edits.
Because I just started watching it, and it wasn't funny at all. It was profoundly sad,
Yes.
and really, and again, just really captivating once you sort of get into the rhythm with which Alan is telling his stories, and he's crying, and there's this guy and suddenly I'm watching a family bury their animal.
Hey, Will, that's my daughter. Hi.
And so we made a little, I guess it was a 10-minute just tribute to this, a tale of a man burying his animal.
Yes.
And it was a little quirky. And from there...
But the thing is, the key was he so fastidiously has recorded himself with Benjamin. I think that allowed the story to really have the breadth that it needed. So credit to them.
I guess once Alan saw that, he was like, oh, you want some pieces? And then thankfully they've been documenting themselves,
Yes,
and as you see,
right.
it all really consists of those little moments. And the reason why it took everything so long to make it is because we live in different places, so it was very rare that we could get together. But every now and then there'd just be another Dropbox dump or another VHS tape sent to us, or files or suddenly we hear about the scratch and all these things that were kind of like, oh wait, there's more to tell. I mean, thank goodness the Times then saw it. I guess it was like an hour and a half long, and they saw it, and they said to us, it was very freeform, kind of not super well. I mean, it was well structured, I guess, but they said, have you thought about making it episodic? And
it helped. I thought it helped with actually figuring out the narrative. It's a kind of complicated story, and the one thing is that you can follow a narrative, and then there'll come a point where, like, a normal person will probably be like, I'm not doing that, and then Alan goes the other way, and those are the points, I think, that kind of create little loops and little story arcs. So it did work. It was interesting.
And in terms of Alan's participation with it, like, how much did he watch as you were putting it together? When did he finally see the final version of it?
That probably would be a movie in itself. Alan's my cousin. We're close. He's a painter. So when he does art, I had to explain, this is my painting, but I need your help. I need your participation. And we worked out a way that, I think was pretty healthy at times.
it was good too, because it was kind of because of that relationship that they had, that it wasn't just one interview or one thing that we documented. It was, we could always go back and kind of get another side of the story, get another kind of retelling of the story, and then obviously having access to the whole family, we got those different sides, and as you can see, it's made up of many conversations between Jim and his family that can, I think, help give it a bit of a richer tapestry than if it was just that one sit down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you like the movie?
Oh, yes, I like the movie. I like the movie, yes. I think you came a long way. I think when the Times got involved and you broke it up into episodes, I think that helped a lot in concentrating.
It helps getting an outside perspective after working on something for so long that in one case is very personal to me, and then like there's a myopia after working on something for 3 years, and when you have someone independent come in and they're like, "This is cool, but do this," you know. Yes, it helps a lot.
If I can ask you one follow-up.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious how other people see it. I'm looking at it from the inside, and this is a little hole that I'm looking. This film is a little hole that I'm looking through. So I'm curious how other people see it.
Even as a viewer here today, it was the first time I've seen it in the room with the family,
Right.
and it felt profoundly different.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
When your behavior is edited into a small fragment, I mean, as a painter, I feel something, and I just touch the canvas, and my feelings go into that touch, and that touch expands out. So maybe it's the same in the film. I'm looking at it from the other side. I don't know. I look at it. Sometimes I feel like I look like a little bit like of a nutcase, but I don't feel like I'm so much of a nutcase. But
No.
But
No, rare
at
genius.
least I justify myself more over a wider. But I don't know. I'm curious how other people see it. But I think bringing the way they broke up the voices, and I mean, it was a very complex, long story, and to break it into an hour, and they put Belkis' character in there and brought my daughter in, and just the way they broke it up was very nice, and the music was nice, and you know, there were some very poignant points that I tear up when I see, and one of the messages that I wanted to convey of this whole thing is how rich any life form is. Just a little something, a little creature has so much depth, and there's so much. I mean, life is so rich, and every how do you say, fractal. Anyway, it's I would hope people would see that and just have a little more empathy and to all creatures, and you know, I want to keep using whatever I learned from that experience to hopefully benefit.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of that, but definitely being able to live in the moment and having all your instincts on high alert, and which they should be. Really, we're so removed from. That's one of the reasons I like to go to Venezuela, because you're really out in nature, and everybody there has heightened animal senses. They know when car is passing by. They know that car, all their senses are heightened, and we're sort of, you know, that's probably not your question. What did I learn? I don't know. Just everybody should have a Benjamin. You know, something you could just love. You know, like that. Anyway, but anyway, I think they did a wonderful job, and I'm very grateful for the Times picked this up. It was amazing. Joyce from the Times started writing about the story way back, and I felt very close to the Times, and for them to pick this up was even a really special thing. And Benjamin was part of New York. I know he would have loved that honor. So.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you, Alan, for sharing your story, and I want to thank both of you for sharing the film with us all. We have to wrap things up, but thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.